Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to bridge the gap between ancient esoteric experiences and hard science by diving straight into the biological and quantum engines of human consciousness. Now, you've probably heard of your basic brainwave states, right? Things like beta or alpha. But today, we're going way beyond the mind's standard operating frequencies. We're going to explore the absolute upper and lower limits of human awareness. And why does this actually matter to you? Well, because understanding these physiological extremes might just be the exact key you need to unlock your own peak potential.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The superconscious brainwaves. 2. An anatomy of an awakening. 3. The metabolic power shift. 4. Quantum biology of consciousness. And finally, 5. The epsilon-lambda circular link. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The superconscious brainwaves.
So let's take a look at this superconscious spectrum because this is where things get really fascinating. We are way outside the bounds of normal waking consciousness here. Down at the very bottom, we have epsilon, dropping below 0.5 hertz. This is essentially a state of suspended animation, the deepest samadhi, where things like your heartbeat and respiration become almost undetectable. Moving up the scale, gamma sits between 30 and 100 hertz, and that gives you the supreme focus and binding of the senses. Hit exactly 100 hertz, and you cross into hypergamma, which is the gateway to exceptional self-awareness and actual mystical states. And then, peaking all the way up to 200 hertz is lambda. This is characterized by just pure, ecstatic oneness, an insight that's literally indescribable.
Think of this 40 hertz plus gamma binding mechanism like a master conductor for your brain. When you're emitting gamma waves, your brain is taking completely scattered sensory data, color from one place, size from another, texture from somewhere else, and it's holographically synthesizing all of that into one unified, much higher perspective. Lower frequencies just cannot manage that kind of synthesis.
Section 2. Anatomy of an awakening. To actually reach these states, your body has to physically rewire its own mechanics. If we look at scientist Itzhak Bentov's physio-kundalini model, there is a very precise biological chain reaction that happens here. It starts during deep meditation when the heart-aorta system begins to oscillate at exactly 7 hertz. That rhythm travels right up the spine and creates standing acoustical waves inside the fluid-filled ventricles of your brain. Honestly, it's a lot like rhythmic ripples forming in a cup of water. That vibration then stimulates the sensory cortex, which ultimately generates a pulsing magnetic field around the head.
What's wild is how sensory signals literally change direction. Normally, sensory input travels in a straight line from the outside world straight into the thalamus. But in deep meditation, when you cut off that outside stimulation, the brain says, okay, let's build a closed loop. Straight line signals become introverted loop circuits. The energy just circulates entirely internally, which perfectly explains why people often report these intense, electrical-like sensations sweeping up their spine and over their head during deep practices.
And while those loop circuits are firing, the brain is quite literally purifying itself. Deep breathing and meditation activate the glymphatic system, which is essentially a heavy-duty power washer for your brain. It floods the neural tissues with cerebral spinal fluid, rapidly flushing out metabolic waste and anointing your neural pathways with specialized secretions. It is structurally preparing your physical hardware for a massive upgrade in consciousness.
Okay, Section 3. The metabolic power shift.
You can't run a supercomputer on AA batteries, right? Generating a blazing 200 Hz lambda wave takes immense physical fuel. So to sustain these states without completely crashing, your body has to metabolically shift gears. It stops burning volatile glucose and switches over to the incredibly stable, high-yield beta oxidation of fatty acids. It's exactly like switching from burning quick flash paper to throwing dense, slow-burning logs on a fire. That shift provides the massive turnover of ATP, your cellular energy currency, that you absolutely need to keep these high-frequency networks online.
75 trillion. That's 7.5 times 10 to the 13th power. That is the sheer number of mitochondria functioning together inside your cells, acting as the ultimate biological battery. We are talking about 75 trillion microscopic power plants working in absolute, total unison to generate the exact voltage your nervous system requires to step out of everyday awareness and into states of ecstatic oneness.
This brings us to Section 4. Quantum biology of consciousness.
To truly understand those 75 trillion mitochondria, we have to zoom way into the quantum realm. Let's talk about quantum coherence.
This is an essential state that happens during deep meditation and sleep, where your biological particles operate in perfect, unhindered unison. It's like watching a massive flock of birds turning in the sky simultaneously as one single organism. Normal classical physics? Those rules just take a back seat. Electrons and protons synchronize across your cells, allowing biological communication and life energy to flow instantly. And energy creation here isn't just basic chemistry. It actually relies on proton and electron tunneling. This is a nanoscale quantum phenomenon happening right inside your mitochondria. Instead of traveling the long way around a barrier, these particles are literally teleporting or tunneling straight through solid protein molecules to produce the ATP that's fueling your consciousness.
So, when you look at the mechanics, your mitochondria are effectively functioning as biological solid-state electronics. They're using specialized iron-sulfur clusters and managing electron spin via precise magnetic and electric fields. They're acting way less like squishy biological tissue and a lot more like advanced quantum microchips that are directly wired into your spiritual awareness. It's just mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Finally, Section 5, the Epsilon-Lambda Circular Link.
This is where all this biology and physics culminates in a beautiful paradox. Look at these two extremes side by side. On one hand, you have epsilon, dropping below 0.5 hertz, the absolute deepest physical stillness, a literal biological pause button. On the other hand, you have lambda, pushing 200 hertz, the highest possible processing speed, profound insight, traveling at mental light speed. On paper, they look like total opposites, right?
While researchers made a stunning discovery, there's a circular link. The ultra-fast lambda wave actually rides inside the ultra-slow epsilon wave. If you were to zoom way out on a rapid 200 Hz lambda wave, you'd realize it is perfectly riding the crest of an incredibly slow epsilon wave. They don't just happen at the same time, they are fundamentally intertwined.
And this perfectly illustrates the ultimate paradox of wholeness. The absolute most profound stillness of your biological body is fundamentally required to unlock the highest processing speed of human consciousness. You literally cannot reach the dizzying, ecstatic heights of lambda without first anchoring your physical biology in the absolute silence of epsilon. They are two sides of the exact same coin.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought to ponder on your own journey. If aligning your metabolism, activating quantum tunneling in your cells, and slowing your physical body to a perfect halt unlocks such a massive expansion of the mind, what reality are you actually tuning into? Thanks so much for joining me to explore this incredible science, and until next time, keep exploring.